It's been litigation galore after the conclusion of the 2023 elections, such that the courts are overwhelmed. Despite the heavy dockets across various courts, more than 346 judges have been drafted to handle 2023 election matters. The fallout is that routine cases are left unattended for the next months. These guys are overstretched. The number of people that actually went to court after that election.
No, the election-related litigation is a big problem in our country now. It's a big problem. People want to go to court even when it is clear to them that they lost. And now people will say, no, don't discourage people from going to court. Let's test our law. Some politicians are bad losers. Yeah. They believe that, okay, you are going to get there, but I'm going to make life difficult. I'm not going
congratulations in the spirit of sportsmanship is becoming more and
even
more difficult.
Even to people who are well defeated, they know in their hearts that they were defeated. But they are going around, some of them are telling us that they are the ones who won. Somebody went abroad to introduce a person who came third as the winner of the election. Where else do they do that now? Where? We can't even learn from George Weah. A very close race. Very close.
Very close.
And a race that divided the nation. But he behaved like a patriot. Came out and said, "Bam, congratulations, you defeated me." The 78-year-old man defeated him, he accepted. If it were Nigeria, they will go to court believing that they can bribe the judiciary, believing that the judiciary can give victory to somebody who didn't win. This is why at every point you see they want to go to court. Some of the matters for which they are going to court are needless. And I'm even saying that even the courts need to punish some lawyers for some of these things. Because we saw, for example, that matter that they took to court, the Abuja matter, over the 25% in Abuja. Yeah. That some individuals got up. They didn't take part in the election. The law says that you cannot file an action except you are a participant. They call themselves Abuja
residents.
Residents. Meanwhile, some of them, we've known them to be Lagos people, and they went to court. So this is the waste of the court's time, some of these things, and that's why these judges are busy.
Again, the judiciary, especially these judges, they are overwhelmed, and they have time span. That's the beauty of it. That it can be more than.
I learned that there is a lot of cases of cut and paste happening now. The embarrassment in Kano, people say is the result of cut and paste. There was another case in which the intro to the CTC was from a case in Jalingo. They brought it to a case in southern Nigeria. So because they are overwhelmed, a lot of this cut and paste is happening, and there's no time to thoroughly vet those things before they go out.
Yes, it's true that the judges and justices, as it were, are overwhelmed by the cases. But the fact is that I also believe that some of these things could have been avoidable. Starting with the election petitions. If INEC has done what it needs to do, and we've gotten our electoral system right, there will be less litigation. And that is a fact. Good enough, BK talked about what happened in Liberia. It's because of the transparency of the system. The man that was defeated saw that the system through which he was defeated was transparent enough, and he came out and gave. This happened in 2015. It's not like it's something new here. Goodluck Jonathan in 2015 came out and even before the election, before the result came out. But that was
he said that if he had listened to people that
of course, that's what I'm saying.
That election was not perfect.
Yes, no, it was not perfect.
We saw underage voting.
Yes, we did.
You people were filming them.
Yes, we agreed. But what I'm saying is,
so if he wanted to, if it was someone else, he would go to court.
Yeah, but what
that discarding that did not work.
The whole president.
But do you realize that we had less litigation in 2015, even across.
That was the first time
that is what I'm saying. You see, so most often than not, then the judges and justices are also, yes, they are human beings. Most often than not, we just think that they are part of the system. They are part of Nigeria. Yes, there have been instances where we know that some judges are corrupt, whether we like it or not.
Of course.
There are. When you see some of the judgment coming out of some of these tribunals, that you know that, because yes, we believe whatever when you come to issue of courts, tribunals, these judgments are based on evidence. But when you bring the same line of evidence, same facts, before they give you contradictory, that means there's a problem.
Okay, all right. Joining us via Zoom from Enugu State for more discussion on this issue is a lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Chino Obiagwu. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us, Chino Obiagwu.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Barrister.
Yes.
Can you hear us? Yeah. We hear that the appeal court especially is overworked. Do you agree? Do you agree?
Yes, definitely. First of all, let me thank you for inviting me. My name is Chino Obiagwu.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
Obiagwu.
definitely. The courts are overwhelmed. The tribunals are overwhelmed by a sheer number of cases, especially at this election cycle.
What can we do? Somebody suggested that we should actually have judges set aside purely for electoral matters. Would that be a solution? Wouldn't it make judges idle for like maybe 3 years out of 4, if we were to have that?
Definitely, that's not the solution to the problem. One of our colleagues has mentioned that the problem is when there is lack of transparency in the electoral process, in the balloting process, there is tendency to have high level of litigation arising from the election. And that was what we saw in this 2023 cycle of elections. But that does not also say that other cycles, they have huge case dockets. We saw both in 2011 and 2015, large number of election petitions. In a state like Imo State, where I participated in some of the elections, almost every office was contested, and that is really very appalling. And you see a panel of 3 justices having a docket of 120, 150 cases. There's no way they can resolve this in 180 days, which is the deadline set by the Electoral Act. So we have, I've been in election petition for a number of years, and I begin to think that election dispute resolution should not be through litigation. In many countries of the world, they have found a way to do electoral dispute resolution through alternative dispute mechanism. And the Electoral Act makes a provision for that. In fact, the Electoral Act provides that if anybody disputes the result of election, you should approach INEC to do a review. And that review should include recounting the ballots, looking at the ballots again, what is your complaint? That administrative measure is meant as a clearinghouse, so that it's not every case that should go to court. But INEC didn't activate that mechanism. We expected that INEC was going to set up a panel of mediators, a panel of arbitrators, who are not necessarily lawyers, who are experienced in the electoral system. And when complaints come administratively, they should review them. There are some cases where those simple complaints of, for instance, underage voting, for instance, where there's a ballot box snatching. These are instances that INEC, through this measure, can deal with. And then that will reduce the number of cases going to tribunal. But everybody goes to tribunal, even when there's a complaint about non-qualification, or that somebody submitted a forged certificate. Why can't INEC set up a panel to look at that certificate? Is it forged? If it's forged, then disqualify the person. Does it have to go to the election petition? So I think we have not gotten right the electoral adjudication system, and we have said that the process of litigation is very outmoded. Only very few jurisdictions use that method. In Kenya, during the presidential election, it was resolved within 2 weeks because they set up a panel of justices, and the complaints were heard, votes were recounted, and the election was recalculated, the voting was recalculated. And that's the way to go, Nigeria. I think, in my own personal opinion.
Yeah, son, the president of the Court of Appeal has decided that cases from northern Nigeria should be handled in Abuja, and cases from southern Nigeria should be tried in Lagos. What do you think she was trying to achieve by this? Has this helped to really speed up adjudication in these matters?
No, on the contrary, with all due respect to my lord, on the contrary, because it creates burden on the litigants. And I was involved in a matter in Imo State, and then for security reasons, it was transferred to Maraba in Nasarawa State. And it was difficult for us to move our witnesses. It's a huge cost. Difficult for lawyers to transport themselves at huge cost. So at a point, we had to drop some witnesses. So when you move the tribunal from the location of the contest to another area, it creates burden of costs. It creates fatigue and all that. So, and it's exactly human beings that are going to handle the cases, whether in Abuja or in Kano or in Lagos. So these are cosmetic measures to address the issue of the challenges of election litigation. We must look deep into what are the causes, because even when there's allegations of corruption, the stakes are very high. People seek for office, people are occupying offices as governors, as presidents, as senators, and they are the one, the results that are being contested. They have access to resources, and who have needs, who are part of us here in Nigeria. So we cannot continue to blame the judges or those participating in that process. We should also look at the system itself. The legislature should look deeply at what are the means of dealing with contestants. Because if I tell you, a lot of people spend more money in election dispute resolution than even they spend in campaigning.
Yes.
And that is really very, very bad. I mean, with all due respect to lawyers like myself, who sees that as a means of earning a living. But I think that for the sake of our democracy, we need to reduce the acrimony that comes from election petition system. And we can only do that by, making it less technical. Let's use arbitration and mediation to resolve some of these issues. So moving the tribunals, the panels to Lagos and Abuja does not solve any problem, because it's the same justice that way. Yes.
Okay. I want to thank you for your intervention. Chino Obiagwu.